Roswell's horror, the first contact and the cover-up of dread. New Mexico's silent scream. The wound in the sky. Close your eyes. Now, imagine yourself in the vast, dusty plains of New Mexico in the summer of 1947. This is a place of profound silence, where seemingly nothing exists for hundreds of miles. The solitude at the heart of America. In the very middle of this silence, the sky tore open. It wasn't a meteor. It certainly wasn't a plane crash. Witnesses claimed it was like nothing ever built by human hands. It was as if the stars themselves had slammed into the earth. As if a wound had opened in the heavens, and something unknown was violently ejected into our world. This is Roswell, the birthplace of the modern UFO legend. But we won't just tell you the legend. We will tell you about the terror experienced by those who first touched the wreckage, the horrifying bodies they saw, and the cosmic betrayal hidden behind this incident. Be ready. Because this story is not just about a flying saucer. This is about the first moment humanity faced its most fundamental fear. New Mexico's silent scream. The wreckage, Mac Brazel's nightmare. Mac Brazel was a simple man. He ran the Foster Ranch near Roswell. A few days after a fierce storm, on the morning of July 8th, while riding his horse, he came across the dreadful sight scattered across his field. It bore no resemblance to a typical plane crash. The fragments he saw were unlike any known technology. There was one material, incredibly light, like aluminum foil. But when Brazel tried to crush it, the material instantly returned to its original, smooth shape. It was as if the material itself had a memory of its form. The worst part was the long, eye-shaped beams Brazel found. They were inscribed with strange, ancient, terrifying symbols that belonged to no known language. These were the signature of an alien intelligence, beyond any human tongue. Brazel didn't know what to do. This wasn't just debris. This was the physical evidence of a frightening secret. A few days later, Brazel decided to report his findings to local Sheriff George Wilcox. He was unaware that this decision would turn his entire life into a nightmare. The military moves in. When the Roswell Army Airfield, RAAF, got involved, everything changed rapidly. Major Jesse Marcel and intelligence officer Sheridan Cavett accompanied Brazel back to the ranch. Marcel was stunned by what he saw. This was unlike anything he knew. This was real. Marcel gathered the wreckage. He felt compelled to show his son and wife. Their reaction confirmed the dreadful truth Marcel felt. Marcel's son described the pieces as being like an alien toy. The first headline appeared the next morning: RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. For the first time, the world officially heard from a source that something non-human existed. But that moment lasted only a few hours. 2. The lie, the cold breath of government. The order from Washington was clear: denial. The government could not allow this truth to spread publicly. Why? The answer wasn't just fear of public panic. The answer was to conceal a much darker reality. Within hours, RAAF Commander Brigadier General Roger Ramey appeared before the cameras. In his hand, he held not the actual debris, but an ordinary, crumpled weather balloon and a radar reflector. Major Marcel was ordered to pose with this balloon. The expression on Marcel's face carried the despair of a man forced to lie. The official statement was altered. The object that crashed in Roswell was a weather balloon belonging to Project Mogul, a Cold War espionage project. That was the story. Simple, believable, and terrifyingly false. And what about Mac Brazel? He was the first man to speak the truth. To silence him, the government used the deepest form of fear. Brazel was held under military surveillance for days. They threatened him, they isolated him. Brazel's family was told that if they spoke again, they would never smile again. This wasn't just a story change operation. This was an attempt by power to erase the truth from human minds. Roswell instantly transitioned from a UFO crash to a government conspiracy nightmare. 3. First contact, the odor of the unknown. Right after the wreckage was collected, some soldiers and local authorities claimed that a second crash site was found a few miles away from the first. And the true terror happened at this second site. The claim suggested that a larger wreckage and bodies lying on the ground were found here. These bodies were beings whose anatomy bore no resemblance to ours. Biological horror, the testimony of witnesses, given years later, was shattering. The beings were between 4 to 5 feet tall. Their clothing was a single piece, metallic gray jumpsuit clinging to their bodies. But the most dreadful part was their head structure. Abnormally large, bald, with almost no discernible nose or mouth. And their eyes, large, black, and almond-shaped. These eyes didn't just see, they studied you, they analyzed you. There was no compassion, no emotion in their gaze. Only an icy intelligence and indifference. Some claims suggested that these beings were not dead, but were paralyzed or deliberately sedated due to the crash. This amplified the fear experienced by the soldiers forced to collect them. Having to carry a living alien, having to touch it. Unknown toxin, the crash site emitted a strange odor. The vegetation around the downed object was abnormally withered and its texture had changed. Witnesses suspected the area was not just emitting intense radiation, but also some other kind of toxin. The bodies were quickly loaded onto cargo planes and dispatched to the most secret military installations. Roswell was the first step in burying the truth. But the next step involved those dark laboratories that would study and replicate this truth. 4. The Area 51 connection, the dagger in the back. Where did the bodies go? Where was the wreckage analyzed? The answer was hidden in the depths of the Nevada desert, Area 51. Officially known as Groom Lake. But known in conspiracy circles as S4 laboratories. Roswell is the reason for Area 51's existence. The crashed craft and these bodies plunged the American military and scientific communities into a frightening race to possess unknown technology. Reverse engineering. According to claims, the retrieved alien spacecrafts were reverse engineered in the S4 laboratories. The goal was not just to understand the technology, but to replicate it. The revelations made years later by physicist Bob Lazar, who worked at these laboratories, showed just how horrific this secret was. Lazar stated that the crafts used a fuel called element 115, a substance unknown on Earth at the time. This material was a power source that could warp gravity and manipulate spacetime. The cosmic bargain, but the horror at Area 51 was not just about technology. The darkest claim was this: governments had made secret deals with alien races to obtain this technological superiority. Perhaps, in exchange for allowing them to operate in certain areas. These activities? Human abductions, genetic experiments. Concealing the Roswell wreckage was only the first step in this grand and bloody bargain. If the public knew about the existence of this technology, they would also learn the truth of their sacrifice. This is not a simple espionage story, it is the story of humanity being sold out by its own governments. Conclusion, the perpetual lie. Roswell was not just an accident, it was a turning point. That wreckage showed us not only that we are not alone in the universe, but also how deeply this truth is buried by those who rule over us. Decades have passed since then. But the silent scream in the Roswell desert still echoes. Every moment, a new report, a new witness emerges. So what about you? Will you continue to believe the lie your government tells you? Or will you chase the truth coming from that dark sky? This was just the beginning. In the next chapter, we will delve into Roswell's darkest secret, the autopsy process of those paralyzed alien bodies. The horrifying moment when humanity first cut into the body of a non-human being. What truly happened in that dark laboratory? Were those beings truly dead? Find the answers in our next episode, and continue this cosmic journey with us.